because there are people that are in different places, different spaces. So there are 3 different channeled messages that I have here today to be with you guys here today, as I don't so often get to do so. So it's always a blessing and a privilege when I get to do so. You know, and that's how things go. So there's a lot to get into, and there are 3 separate spaces that I am asked to get into collectively, because from what I'm told, there's going to be obviously different people in different places. So I need to make sure that those things are relevant to you guys today, and what you're pursuing and what you're going through and what needs, you know, help moving through. So we're going to take care of that today. We might do some energy healing too, all right, along the pathways, and there is some resistance today. So if you're feeling a little bit of resistance that's there, all right, it's in the air. Things are kind of like trying right now with Mars and Aries, and things are playing out, okay? So if you're feeling resistance in the air, it may not be you, and self-doubt and all that stuff. Those types of things can come about, especially with Venus in retrograde right now. So I'm going to dive into the message and start channeling these things through as I get in deeper after what I have written here. So there's 3 different places and spaces that we're going to get into today. So all right, here we go. All right. In order to receive, you have to perceive a reality within thee that will become what you choose to see, what you want and what you need it to be. Misalignments are not personal. They are spiritual, removing the internal violence with silence. So hear me out. What you want and what you need it to be is a reflection of inside of you, right? So it's inside of you. So you are finally at a place where you are getting to choose to become what you choose to see within you, within thee, all right? Misalignments are not personal, they are spiritual. So even though your ego may want to take misalignments as being personal, okay, this is when you realize that those misalignments are just part of the divine assignment, whether it be a person, place, limiting feeling, limiting belief, okay, is what they're saying. So misalignments are not personal, they are spiritual. Removing the internal violence with silence. So the internal violence, right? This is a part about Venus in retrograde. You're removing a lot of the internalization of the emotions that leave you in stagnation, that no longer are peaking with the vibration that you're seeking, okay? No longer compliant to the energy that entertains lower dimensional vibrations. So you're no longer compliant to the energy that entertains lower dimensional vibrations, because you are sitting here going, divine, is this me or is this atmospherically? You have a new type of level of divine comprehension, even that if you don't understand what's necessarily internally going on with you, you are divinely being led through what you're being led through. Asking thee what energy in me attached me to that energy in the first place. So now you are moving into a place no longer compliant to the energy that entertains lower dimensional vibrations. What you're doing is coming from a higher assignment, a higher awareness. This is the crown and the third eye that's just been going off like crazy. And it says you're asking thee, yourself, the divine, okay, what attached you to that energy in the first place. That's where you're taking accountability then, to see if that energy is truly yours or if it's something atmospherically, because we got pushed into taking a lot of different accountability in different places. But see, here's the thing. You couldn't see that accountability in past places because of the frequency that you were vibrating at. And now you're vibrating at a higher frequency. So now it makes sense as to why you can see these things. They've always been there. Everything has always been here. It's just that you can see it now because you have a higher frame of mind, a higher awareness. You're on a higher timeline. Okay? But these things are like shocking revelations to people, right? And it's like, well, why is this shocking to you? It's always been here. You just weren't able to take accountability to see it with where you were at because of the vibrations that you were moving through in your own awareness. Okay? So now you're in a place of taking accountability and you're asking thee, what in me attached me to that energy in the first place? All right? You're releasing the programming of being responsible for others. and your internal change. This is part of the new wave that is here, right? They're going through that process. So there are bits and pieces that might be reflective to you guys right now as I speak this because of Venus in retrograde. But at the same time, this is type of that new wave energy that's coming through to me. And so we're moving on to the next message. Now, if that didn't vibrate with you, if that didn't really connect, hold on as we move through to the next wave of frequency as I speak this through. Because now it says, now those of you that are above that game, you're in a waiting time frame. Removing devil energies internally, being the spiritual violence of shit. I can't read the writing. I apologize because I don't write like chicken scratch. So when it comes out in chicken scratch, give me a minute. Hold on. Now, those of you that are above that game, you're in a waiting time frame, removing devil energies internally, being the spiritual violence of the mind. Thank you. Attracting what you don't like to remove the vibrations. So some of you now are in revelations. Revelations where you're going, oh shit, I'm right now attracting things I don't like, not in this timeline. In a sense, you're attracting them with this Venus retrograde energy, so that you can see exactly for what it is in a different way in the new frame of mind. Because those of you that now are out of that, removing the internal violence with silence, right? And you're no longer compliant to the energy that entertains lower dimensional vibrations. You're asking what in me attach me to that energy, releasing the program of being responsible for others and responsible for your internal change. Then those of you now are in a different time frame. Now, those of you that are above that game, you're in a waiting time frame, removing devil energies internally, being the spiritual violence of the mind, attracting what you don't like to remove the vibrations inside. Now, what that means is that's a state of hypocrisy. So what it's showing you is it's showing you you're attracting exactly what you don't like. Well, if you don't like something inside, it's going to come into your timeline so you can go, okay, I don't like this. Maybe this is reminding me of a past place or a past behavior that no longer exists in my timeline here, but it's showing itself that is relevant to me right now, that is really getting me to choose what I internally want to vibrate at, because that's what Venus is asking you to do in a sense. What type of relationship boundaries are you redefining internally within yourself? Because just like your taste buds change every 7 years, you grow, you've been meditating, you've been praying, you know that grows gray matter in your brain when you pray, when you meditate, right? When you pray, you meditate, you actually grow gray matter in your brain. So for those of you that have done a lot of drugs, stuff like that, in past mind frames, you can actually grow that gray matter back, and it might actually work in relevance to different experiences that you had during those time frames of those trippy events is what they're saying. So not everything is negative, okay, in any type of way. It's just an obstacle or an observation for you to move through, to you to learn about you. And so those of you are in the waiting game, removing the devil energies internally, being the spiritual violence of the mind. You're attracting what you don't like so you can move to a higher frame of mind. Now, what they're taking me to with those of you that are in that timeline is you are flipping the script. So you are coming out of the programming of the mind. The mind is the masculine. The mind is the patriarchal, ship. It's all of that. It's like the logic. It's like things have to be this way. They have to be this way. They have to make sense. You have to understand why. That's the mindset that you're breaking through, because that's where we've been, is in the masculine mind. Now things are all flipping around, and now it's no longer going to be the mind leading you, it's going to be the heart. So when this is occurring, you are removing devil energies, lower vibrational thoughts, lower vibrational emotions, because you're attracting what you don't like so that you can move past that timeline. Okay, this is all relevant to the experiences that you're going to have during the lunar and solar eclipse. Don't let anybody push you into any type of fear propaganda by any means whatsoever. Okay, as soon as it's get the fuck rid of it. Okay, because I will tell you this right now, the divine has told me be very sensitive and be very careful and trust your own internal instincts right now. Being on the app or wherever you're at, even with me, I don't give a shit. Okay, because I'm going to tell you right now If you understand what's going on and how those energies are used through things right now, you're going to understand why fear is being used in this way, that way. This person's attacking you. Your whole world's going to change. You're going to be left with nothing. Oh my God, war, blah, 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 blah. Because as soon as you consume that vibration and that energy, then you are assuming that timeline and you're saying, okay, I accept that timeline. Say, no, I do not accept. I declare nothing but what the Most High has in store for me. Period. End of story. So you are now seeing how you're able to feel the feeling and reject the energy immediately. This is the growth, the spiritual growth, the most spiritual growth I've seen thus far, that comes back to the transmission of prophecy that I've been working on. So the spiritual violence of the mind, you're attracting what you don't like in the heart space so that you can move past that timeline. That's where then the heart leads the mind. I had a beautiful counselor so long ago in my life that actually became a huge mentor to me when it came to addiction counseling and stuff like that. And so I got to work with him for over 2.5 years. And one of the things that he always told me, he said, move your ass and your mind will follow. And he goes back to that song, free your ass and your mind will follow. And he's like, move your ass and your mind will follow. So right now you're having to reprogram the mind. So now the mind is having to follow the heart. And this is where you cannot second guess your start, is what's being said to me. Okay? Now, on to the third timeline, because those of you that are vibrating out of that timeline, okay? Hear me out. Those are of you that are past that realm or on a higher timeline. You have no idea what's here, but you're curious about what comes next without regret. You're leaning into knowing it will be exactly what you need and want it to be. That's it. That's the cards you're showing. But you can see all of it. You have this beautiful observation about being able to separate yourself in multiple ways, in multiple timelines, and coming back to thyself. You're seeing how everything is playing out. Dimensionally, they're showing me a prism. Things on all colors, all spectrums, all levels. Even thyself. Okay, so those of you that are past that realm, you're like, wait a minute, because none of this is connecting. I can hear you. You're like, wait a minute, none of this is connecting because I feel great. I'm chilling. I'm in observation. Things are just in flow. This is just what I know now, is just let go. It's like the only thing you know to do is to let go, which is move out of your own way. You're moved out of the way. You know, one of the main things that I've always prayed for besides wisdom has been discernment. And when you pray for that discernment, trust me, you learn it. You learn it in the most cunning, baffling, and powerful ways. You learn discernment, because then you're able to realize whether it's an obstacle or opposition. They're showing me you've mastered thyself. You know the how, you know the why, you know when you're going to react, you know how not to react. And so most of you are being told to sit down and observe in this timeline. Now, this is making your spirit and your soul agitated, because you can already feel the energies of the eclipses coming in, and you're like, it's go time, it's go time, it's go time. Those of you past that realm are on a higher timeline. No idea what's here, but you're curious about what comes next without regret. You're leaning into knowing it will be exactly what you need, with no longer fighting with the higher mind, is what was just said. You've moved out of your own way to allow the divine to do whatever it's going to do with you, however it's going to be, because you see nothing as an obstacle anymore. It's not even an obstacle to you. It's just intuitively knowing how to handle situations which used to baffle you, which is actually one of the promises of Bill W., for those of you that don't know, okay? And so it's actually a very spiritual revelation, and it was always supposed to be a very spiritual revelation, but the way, of course, that they made it out to be, and AA made it out to be, was a whole nother fucking thing, all right? But it really was about a spiritual awakening, a spiritual revelation within oneself. And so he went through a Kundalini awakening. Why? Because he put down the bottle. And he had the spiritual awakening in the hospital, right? And one of the promises was, you will intuitively know how to handle situations with you to baffle you. And one of the other things was, is you continued your conscious contact with the higher mind, the higher God of your understanding. Okay? And so you always had this place to go. You always had this place to turn back to. But a lot of people lost that within themselves because that was a play upon the mind, right? So in a lot of religions, and I'll just say what I got to say, but in a lot of religions, they cut you off. They cut you off from your higher minds, not only through fear, but also by certain signs. So in one of the religions, they make the sign of the cross. Well, where do they cut themselves off at? When they make the sign of the cross over their body. So you are cutting yourself off from the higher mind, from the heart space of Yahweh, from the divine. When you make certain symbolizations and certain signs, they hold certain frequencies that carry out those things. And so you are seeing now how you are part of a divine prophecy. Are there stories that are happening right now that are written in that way? Yes, but the way that they pray to the God that is revelized in that book is through barter and trade and sacrifice and so on and so forth. And the divine, of my understanding, she does not come from that place of reality, and it was a place that was made to do all of that, to cut you off from the sacred divinity of you, from the conscious contact of the Creator. And now you're coming into a new way and a new, thank you so much, Kimberly. You're coming into a new way and a new flavor. That you are divinely responsible for your own connection without apprehension. So it doesn't matter, you're in a different place. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world around you, because you understand that you're not going to allow that projection upon your life. You're taking a higher state of demands, a higher calling, right? Many of you are being called to move. Many of you are being called to do what you're doing. And it's only because, thank you so much, the divine in you is pursuing through you. But you have to get out of your own way. And the only way you can get out of your own way is by then turning the mind into the slave, because it's a terrible master. And it has been the master. And a beautiful, beautiful person to me, and my counterpart and my husband forever and eternity, not only this timeline, but many, has always said that the mind is a great slave, but a terrible master. Well, now you're making the mind a slave to the heart, to the divine. You don't question why, you just have an understanding. So then, therefore, the obstacle that you see is no longer an obstacle, because you've removed the programming of going, why? Why is this happening to me? How many times have you gotten sick and tired of being sick and tired, only to be rewired again? Sick and tired of being sick and tired, only to be rewired. How many of you have had fits with yourself over the last few days and said, fuck this, I'm not doing it again? You didn't say why, you declared it. There's a difference when you declare something in the air versus when you go, why? Why is this happening again? Quit asking why, because it's going to happen again and again and again and again until you understand the vibration of the frequency that you hold inside. We already have the authority. You don't remember that timeline, though. It was always granted and gifted to me. And no, Jesus and Mary are not coming back. They are primordial. They are goddesses, and their bloodline continues through many and few. They don't need to. They're not going to. We are it. We save ourselves. That's why we came from the inside out this time. And this is why I've always said all women at the center and all vessels open, because it's going to be the divine feminine through the healing, through the empathy, through the revealing of the truth. This is why the Queen of Swords keeps coming out and the Ace of Swords. Okay, in all that you do. This is why you're redefining yourselves again on different levels and different hindsights in different ways. It's because of the plays and the way that you are changing things. Go read the real book. Go get yourselves this book. Where is it at? Where's my best friend? Here it is. It's on the floor, because it's never far from me. Go get yourselves this book. Take a screenshot of it, okay? Go get yourselves this book. The reason I say this is because it is going to reveal to you many different things and how all these things are playing out relevantly to speaking of now. Okay? Just know that the reason why you have disdain is because you know what's written in the thing is not real and not true in the God that is portrayed in there. Because the God of your understanding, the divine she, okay, is of love, is of truth, is of commitment, is of loyalty, is not of a lower mindset of greed and abuse and toxicity. And it's not of hypocrisy, and it's not of judgment either. And this is the calling card. And once a threshold, okay, this is how the game is played. If they can propagate so much fear and they can push that frequency out so much and they hit a certain many that accept that time frame, that accept that frequency, they have to hit a certain threshold of that frequency in order for it to happen in that timeline. So that's why they're pumping it out so much right now, is because it's not working. Because you're overturning that timeline. Does that make sense? So they have to hit a certain threshold for that fear frequency or that timeline to actually play out. And because you're coming from a higher mindset, you're trusting in something higher, you're believing in something more, you're seeking something more, and you're saying, no, 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 you're not welcome, you're not allowed here, this is not okay, we're not doing this, only this way. You are declaring and decreeing a new type of timeline that you are beginning to see, because on a collective consciousness, we are developing it as we go collectively and consciously. Just like they are. But because our energy and our knowing and our sovereignty and our authority, a lot of you were getting the Empress and the Emperor, that, well, yeah, you're being birthed into a new vibration. The Emperor is the authority of dictating these things over your life, and understanding part of the divine prophecy is what you claim it to be from the inside. This is why you've had to remove all those things. Everything that has been done to you, you've had to undo and redo. So the head and the heart space, you had to detach it, disconnect it, to put it back again in order for things to actually make sense and take place. So this is part of that timeline that you're going through right now, a higher frame of mind in what you're trying to connect to. And the reason that the Bible keeps coming out is because there are certain revelations, certain stories in there that are playing about right now in the timeline, in the time frame that you're in. But anytime that you read in there that there's been a sacrifice, or God did this, or God condemned that, it was not of the God of your understanding that you know, that is above this etherical universe that is within all of us. And so that's what you're trying to connect to when you're going through a higher form of trust. Now I'm going to read something to you that's going to make sense to you, that was a piece that I received the other day. And then I'm going to go into the transmission because they're asking me to, because there's certain codes. But here we go. Holy crap. Okay, hold on. No? Okay, here we go. In order for people to feel God, they need to perceive. In order to receive. I'm going to say this a few times because it's going to get confusing within your mind. So just sit and close your eyes for a minute. If you want to, you don't have to. I don't like telling anybody what the fuck to do. Sometimes not even to my own kids, man. I just like to let them go. Just let them go. They'll figure it out. I don't even like telling my own kids what to do. All right. In order for people to feel God, they need to perceive in order to receive. In order for people to feel God, they need to perceive in order to receive. Now, here's where the mindfuck plays out. In order for people to believe, they have to be able to perceive in order to receive, which is to feel God, the divine, is real. In order for people to believe, they have to be able to perceive in order to receive, to feel what God, the divine, is real. In order to feel God is real, they have to believe in something that the human mind can't perceive in this dimensional reality to receive. In order to feel God is real, they have to believe in something that the human mind can't perceive in this dimensional reality to receive. Yes, you have a divine date with destiny too. You can go back and listen to that post if you'd like to. That was a message received about 2 or 3 days ago. But that's there. But they've asked me to step into this, and then I'm going to jump off. If any of you guys would like a private session with me, you're more than welcome to. And so one of the biggest things that my team and the divine has always pushed with me has been spiritual baths. Okay, so I don't know if any of you know about spiritual baths or take spiritual baths. And it's not just on Sabbaths and full moons and new moons and stuff like that. It really helps with clearing and cleansing your auric field. It really helps with the clarity, the wisdom, the discernment, okay, in your reality. And one of the reasons why is because water's so cleansing. But my team has asked me to step into a space that I used to step into a long time ago, and I am a master alchemist and herbalist, and the divine sacred oils is something that I practice, and I love to extract my own oils from my own plants, my own herbs, all of it. It's all very organic, it's all very natural. It's just a part of the native in me and where my habitat is in this reality. So my team and the divine asked me to develop a very organic spiritual bath, okay, that is an auric field cleanse and a protector. But then they also asked me to do one for prosperity, and it's called Liquid Luck. So we have a sacred auric field cleanse, and we have also a liquid luck spiritual bath for you. And people don't have the time, right, to always take spiritual baths. They got kids, they got baseball, they got soccer, they got dinner, they got this conference, they got that conference. They don't have a tub. And I was like, you know what? You're right. We need to do something about this, because there's so many people out there that need spiritual baths, that need to do this, that need all these things, but they don't have the time, nor do they have a tub, nor do they know how to extract what oils from what herbs and what is best for what and da-da-da-da-da. They don't know that. They're just starting this process. So why don't we make something? So me and my team developed the Liquid Luck, okay? This is the Liquid Luck Sugar Scrub, all right? Now, it's all organic, all right? And there's no water, because I don't deal with that sugar scrub shit that's water, okay? It's all organic materials. There is a 3-month shelf life on this with organic preservatives. And this is the Liquid Luck, okay? And all the ingredients are there and listed on the website too. But I also made a side label, so you can see the side label here too. All right, and it's got, of course, 4 corners healing on here. And then it has the name of it there. And then this is the auric field cleanse. So for those of you that don't and can't and don't have time to take baths, these are the sugar scrubs. Hold on, the light is not hitting that one. Let me make my light darker so you guys can see. There we go. All right, and they do have this is very clean. This is very clean, very organic, very buttery, okay? This is foaming sugar scrub. So when you actually use it, it'll foam up. Now, men and women both can use this. It's not frou-frou-y, okay? It's not to be frou-frou-y. This is very spiritual. So there are my own recipes. And for those of you that are in my mentorship, you already know that my entire mentorship program, you get all these documents with all these codes and all these things, especially with the chakra oils, So it does have essential oils in it, but those blends are listed on here. But the essential oils are not the oils that are extracted, that are very spiritual and very connected, that I was asked to use. And those things are very sacred blends. But this is very clean. Okay, so it smells like shower fresh clean. All right, is what you'll smell. All right, and there's no, I don't do water. Okay, we don't do water here. Water doesn't do anybody any good. So this is an entire 8-ounce jar. This is 3 pounds. 3 pounds in one jar. Okay, you're getting 3 pounds in one jar. This one is cinnamon. The essential oils is cinnamon, lemongrass, and bergamot in here. But I'm not giving you the sacred blend. That would be stupid of me to give you my full-on recipe. and you can taste it, and it tastes good. It's all sweet and sugary, okay? But those are there. Those are available on my website for purchase right now. I would check them out. They're going to be gone soon, okay? So, and you can just use them on your hands, man. We've got them by the sinks, all that. So, cinnamon and all that good stuff. So that's for prosperity, that's for abundance, that's for good luck. If some of you like to go to the casino, whatever that is, all right, if you guys are just feeling crappy, negative energy, and you want to wash your hands of that, instead of trying to get into your cupboards and get cinnamon and sugar, you know, salt and all that stuff to wash it. How many of you guys actually wash your hands every morning with cinnamon and sea salt and nutmeg? You know what I'm saying? So you're falling into a higher time frame of mind. And so I guess that was to clear out who wasn't needed to be here, because they're going to miss the biggest treat. And so for those of you that are here now, this is what we were leading into. So sit back, relax, and listen, all right? And I invite you into this space. And this is deep transmission I have received since 2021. And I've been working on this in many different places. So here we go, all right? I feel like I need to move you guys. So we're just going to move together, all right? I'm just going to move a little bit. All right, here we go. We're moving. All right. The seed of creation, or did you forget? In the beginning, it was us and we were it. You wanted to experience it. Time and space is what took place from many different frequencies that allowed it to be, brought on by many different creeds and beings that became the seed, which then became the word to be. The Divine Mother planted the seed of creation. Your Mother Earth that I created was never meant to be a way station. You were born to create, you were born to have fun, you were born from the light, that's where it begun. The sands of time have clogged your mind, frequency turned to words, left your voice unheard. You forgot all that you learned when you emerged, time and space is what took place. You were never meant to be erased in this densely lit place. You came to your senses with divine comprehension, you reinforced your prism. Clearing out the masses, you finally chose to take off your rose-colored glasses. Your mind raced as your heart stood still, not knowing then what would take place. Red pill, blue pill, no choice at all, waiting for time and space to fall, wondering when and if you would hear the call. Come the one and come the all, as your mother's voice stood tall. You knew the answer and you heard your call. The spark, the fire, the flame, call it what you want here, your words are all the same. The masters and the spirits already know your name, it's an imprint through all time and space. Do you even know from which dimension you came? How come you don't even remember or know your truest of name? The one the Creator gave you when it birthed you in all of your light with all of its sight. Time stood still the day you were born. You came out perfect. You were never meant to be torn. You were made to believe what your human eyes could perceive. Don't you see the light I gave you is inside of me? Make no mistake, oh my, how you've grown. It shows in your smile a newfound home. The tides have turned, oh what a mess. What did you think? I was not in distress? Did you think I would forget? My children come from wide and far, uniting of their tongues will soon roar. The trumpets will sound and be silenced no more, in perfect peace and harmony once more. No longer can you claim my land, you see, it was never yours to begin with, it's what you made it out to be. Oh, how you have disrespected the one you call God, who is truest in nature. I sent my son in physical form to represent me, the eternal flame, the divine creator. He had natural abilities to be the protector and fulfill the divine prophecy to complete the sacred sectors of geometry. He did exactly what I asked of thee, but you personified him and persecuted him to be, turned him into a sacrifice because you were scared of thee. But this time I made the order taller that he comes back a she, all in divine order, you'll see. A gift to my children. A peaceful presence will return. Justice for all was my bond and my word. The Creator has watched all that you've done. Did you think you would get away with your fun? Torture, slavery, and greed from day one. Don't you worry, your judgment day will come. You've taken way more than you need. This will no longer be a place of greed, no matter what race, lineage, color, or creed. My children have come to unite, you see. Under my grace, you took from every age, race, and gender, people suffering while you danced in a splendor. Not thinking that my children of the light would catch on to your demise, divide and conquer was your prize. The war you made was on their minds, to trap their souls is your prize. There is one you could not trick, the Creator, the all, the infinity. Can't you see? The tables have turned, you better run quickly. You made my children forget the prophecy. Through your words you used as frequency, your lies and unspoken truths you hid from thee. But there is one you forget, the Creator can see every nook, every cranny, and every thought to be, for it wrote the divine prophecy of eternity. My children have come to unite, you see, from near and far. I put out a grand call for a great awakening. Come the one and come the all. My heart beat that grounds their feet, my lands, my rivers, my plants, my trees. What a sweet treat, but they have forgotten what connects them all to me and you. A dream some think far-fetched they think that won't come true, but that's the key. Divine intervention no one can see, but the truest of eyes and hearts that beat. We returned the call. We knew the answer. The 144 was the answer from every lineage, race, dimension, and creed, for they remember the code to be as they have walked this path since the beginning of humanity. I hid them this time near and far. For every 1 million, there's only 3. I was way smarter than you could believe. We also gathered those that carried the feather and the rose to be. They come from faraway places in many backgrounds and colors and races, not from these familiar places. They are here to spark the masses to create a higher expansion, and this is what you call rapid ascension. Inner earth and outer earth are about to emerge. This will no longer leave your voice unheard. You found peace in the silence, left behind so much spiritual violence, only to become vulnerable once more. That left you on your knees in front of my door. Voices churned as your emotions burned, trying to find peace in the silence once more. Tender pieces finally put together in one frame, not from disdain, but because you finally remembered your name from which you came. The demons in your brain from which you came, you had to learn to refrain until nothing but my voice remained. You had to learn the spirits of disdain already knew your name as you came to complete your destiny once more. Turning the pages, you learned from the sages how to find peace in the silence, moving away from the spiritual violence life you knew was never going to be a bore. The energies of the enemies knew when you were born. This is the meticulous beginning of our sequel. You had to learn that you were not all created equal. Your frequency and light were that of mine. This I had to teach you in due time. And soon you would learn that everything would work out fine. Trusting the process puts you humans in such distress. This time is not equal. That's why this is the beginning of the second sequel. You are my people. The spaces in the in-between is where you had to sew up the seams so your light could not be seen. You have come so far from who you are to what you are. This is the most growth I've seen thus far. You had to come back home to me and no longer flee from what was inside of you and me. I am your equal. I created the heavens and the earth. All the planets that reside, put your differences aside and come alive. Everyone transitions, which is what you call death, but not everybody lives and know what it's like to give. Give to the one that gave to you. I reside in each and every one of you. The merging of the two, the inner you, the outer you. You call that your higher self, I think, to be true. Inner earth and outer earth, the heavens and the earth will merge once more. This cycle will no longer be born. It was all part of the perfect storm in the process in which you forget. Don't worry, it's nowhere near over yet. There is plenty of time to reflect and process all that you are, and once your knees hit the floor once more, you'll remember. It's time. It's true. I created the heavens and the earth with the help of your birth. The depths of your soul are so very old, it's wrapped in gold. Behold the stories that were left untold. All is about to unfold. There is something in you that you've been told. Your heart is so very bold. Don't believe all that you've been sold and told. Nothing more can be bought, borrowed, sold, or left untold. These are the stories of gold about to unfold that have never been bought, borrowed, sold, or told. This is a prophecy so very, very old, and it all starts with the gold. I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other today, okay? Until we meet again. Mwah.